Well, good morning to those of you that have just joined us, and thanks very much for waiting, just to give everyone a chance to get signed in. So I'm going to hand over now very shortly to Peter and Tony to begin the webinar.
Thanks, Erica. So it's good morning from us, and thanks for joining us today. This morning, we'll be talking about how you can help the retailers in your network to better understand and then work more smartly right through the buyer cycle or customer journey, whichever phrase you use. And it's interesting that already we stumbled upon terminology that, although understandable to you and me, can be confusing and a little bit off-putting to those people in your network that have responsibility for local marketing. And that's a theme we'll return to shortly. My name is Peter Cronin, and sitting alongside me this morning is Tony Searle.
Morning.
We've been operational as an agency for a little over 20 years now, and for the last 10, we've been occupying the space between brands and their retailers. We call it retailer marketing or channel marketing. One thing we're convinced of is that supporting your retailers with their own efforts to market your brand and products at local level is time and money well spent. It's an exciting and constantly developing area, and hopefully today will convince you that strategy and planning isn't beyond even those retailers with the least amount of training and marketing knowledge. So, just to set out what we've lined up today, here's a quick agenda. We'll start off by quickly sharing who we think you might be, who's most likely to benefit from this webinar. And then we'd like to discuss why being visible throughout the customer journey is more important than ever before at local level. We'll describe the plan we use for our clients and their networks. A lot of our activity in this sector is systems based, using online portals, and that's how brands can get so much done with very little effort and at very little cost relative to the return. We'll talk a little bit about the options in this area. Finally, we'll answer any questions you might have sent through using the chat area on the right-hand side. In all, it should be about 30 minutes or so. So, item 1 on the agenda, who are you? Let's talk about who's logged in and listening. Not each one of you by name, obviously. Most of you are responsible for your brand's advertising and marketing, and many of you have the additional responsibility of overseeing or policing the marketing undertaken by your network of retailers of one type or another. What do you call them? Wholesalers, stores, retail or sales agents, chains or franchises, dealerships, venues, pop-ups? You know what? Retailer marketing covers any organisation that sells or operates through multiple points on the map. One thing's for sure, you'll each have different levels of expectation when it comes to the local marketing activities. Now, I know that some of you don't actually devolve power out to local marketing managers at each site, and that you're responsible for managing and executing local marketing yourselves. The challenges are slightly different, but the solutions we talk about this morning apply just the same. So, why are we even talking about the customer journey or buyer cycle at local level? At local level, it's all about the transaction, isn't it? Well, that's the trap that many brands fall into at local level. It's all about the here and now. The constant battle for retailers to hit monthly targets is ingrained in their psyche. They have field teams or sales managers at HQ pushing for numbers right now. This leads inevitably to their advertising and promotion to be offer-based and panic-stricken by firing out transactional messages to everybody, whether they're in market or not. This is not how marketing works in the real world. The result, inevitably, is total confusion for the audience with unsubscribed, spoils leads, and a complete lack of trust. The reason for this panic marketing is usually a lack of planning, and typically it's because at local level there is very little training and help in this area. Even a simple plan like this is rarely set out. In our opinion, there's one very good reason why planning is often difficult to grasp for all but the seasoned marketing professionals like yourselves.
Yep, that's true, and that is jargon. The marketing, media, and advertising sector loves it. But when it comes to your retail network, the jargon causes confusion, which leads them to spend their marketing budget where they feel safest, by promoting offers and discounts in the media channels they understand best. Which is why we like to make things simple with this very straightforward planning proposition. See, think, do, care. And these are the words we use to help describe the customer buying journey to our clients. Let's start with what we call the C stage. Typically, for big ticket items like cars or conservatories, for example, the customer journey starts at least 12 months before purchase. Now, the first thing to point out is that the timings for these stages can be set by the brand's marketing teams at HQ. They will already have a roadmap for the customer journey, but it will most likely be using different jargon. A fast food chain, for example, will have very different timings. But make no mistake, each of these stages still need to be factored in to an effective marketing plan for local retailers. So the C stage is all about building awareness. People start doing a bit of casual and often sporadic research, reading some product reviews, asking some friends for their opinions. But usually, the brand's own advertising and website has a big role to play in this awareness stage. So the local retailer can leave all that brand building activity to HQ. They have the big bucks, they know how to do that. What local level retailers should be doing is to make sure prospects see that they exist and raise awareness of their own presence in that area. This is especially true if they're new to that location, or if they're representing perhaps a challenger brand and haven't been particularly visible. Let's show you a few examples of the type of activity we mean. Running off-site events or displays at the local shopping centre or sports club is a great way to put your business in front of people who you want to be your customers one day in the future. And building partnerships with high-profile organisations in the community also helps. These types of activity often put your business on show on a slightly more regular basis. And I've just had a text from Erica saying, quit with the silly gifts, I'll do that. And move on to sponsorship. Now, sponsorship can cost very little for the return on local community awareness. Sponsoring a local league or a school event is often surprisingly productive in the long term. And C stage is a long game after all. None of these are new ideas, I know, you will have heard them before, but they're still actually not done very often and they're never planned in. Increasingly, we are seeing retailers have great success with local celebrities, for want of a better word. Is there a popular restaurant or chef in your local area? Why not invest in their following? Maybe loan or donate them something that you sell and let them tell everybody about it via their social presence. You just need to use some good old-fashioned social techniques like having a chat with them and suggesting it. This type of arrangement is usually a win-win for both parties. We've seen this work really well. And how about poster sites? This is probably a bit more expensive than the other ideas, but if you can afford it and it's properly personalized and made relevant to your area, it's a brilliant way to introduce a new brand or retailer to the town. Remember, C stage is all about building awareness of the local retailer's own existence. Shouldn't cost too much, but it will add significantly to your local prospects knowing that you're there when the time does come for them to buy. On to the think stage. Basically, this is about building your reputation. This is the stage that's often completely ignored. Prospects are coming closer to purchase now. They'll probably have a short list and they'll be thinking ahead of which stores they might like to visit. If you've been doing some of the C stage activity, events, sponsorships, posters, then maybe now you'll be on those prospects' radar. The objective in this stage is to ensure that they think of your store, dealership or venue in a positive light. Reputation locally is vital. We live, more than ever, in a world of reviews and ratings. Now, for you, it's not about the money at this point, it's about time. You have to set aside periods where somebody, if not you, is tasked with reputation management. It's vital. What do we mean? Well, simple. Let's start with your presence on Google, for example. We're often quite amazed that local retailers do nothing about their Google My Business entry. Take a look at the two examples coming up from my own local search for kitchens. Both of these are big brands with a retail network. So, where would you spend your Saturday morning? Ironically, the Howdens retailer has some good reviews, but I bet they don't even know they're there. Obviously, we'd all be drawn in by the Jewson's entry. Unless you manage your entry, Google will do the best it can on your behalf. Unfortunately, that usually means that we use a Google Street View as the main picture, as they've done here for Howdens. It's not difficult to manage these entries. Google makes it all very easy and intuitive. You just need to put the time aside. And the brand at HQ could make it easy for the network to do this. Just give them access to high quality images. We'll tell you how later in this webinar. And when it comes to reviews, it's very important to keep on top of those. Sorry, Erica, I couldn't resist that one. A bad review is unfortunate, but a genuine and honest response often neutralizes it. Do not leave them unanswered. Remember, we're in the think stage. We're building reputation here. And make it a part of every customer's engagement with you to ask them to leave a review for you on Google or Facebook or wherever you are. It might just surprise you how willing happy customers are to do this. They just need a prompt. Yeah, onto social media. Now, although it's worthy a webinar all its own, we're only going to talk about social media with regard to its role in the See, Think, Do, Care plan. And we think it's in the think stage that it plays a really important role. Many retailers have a basic misunderstanding still of how social media can benefit their business. The truth is, in respect of reputation building and management, Facebook will give a lot of people their first impression of your business. So if you run your own pages, make sure they're up to date and try to add local relevancy. Events or some of the C stage activities like sponsorships and partnerships, they're the kind of thing that belongs on your social media pages. Photos of people making make the most engaging posts, and if they're happy customers picking up their new TV or today's lunch, so much the better. Do not fill your pages with offers and discounts. People are just dropping in to check you out, remember. Social media can be used for offers, but not via your regular social posting. We'll discuss this a little bit later. Finally, and most importantly, the retailer's own website. If they have one, very often big brands will have a main website with a locator function for the retailers in their network. But increasingly, we're seeing websites for each retailer, store or venue being created and managed locally, especially in the franchise world. It's the place that prospects are likely to visit as they approach time to purchase. Make sure it's up to date and shows information relevant to their needs at the think stage, not just the do stage. Where is your store? Is there parking? When are you open? What do you stock? Can they chat with you online? Do you show customer endorsements? Who works there? People love looking at people. This all sounds obvious, but we see so many examples where it isn't the case. Just a website full of discounts and offers, even though I might not be buying right now. Remember, prospects will visit your site at some point and they'll judge you in a heartbeat. We all do it. So, onto the do stage. Yep, at last, we're finally at that place where most local marketers spend all their time and money, which is understandable when there's no proper planning in place. But hopefully, if the see and think stages have been adequately considered and are being dealt with on a regular basis, the do stage becomes less panicky and leads will be generated from a broader and more conquest-based audience than ever before. The do stage, well, it's all about driving leads to conversion, and this will primarily be done online. As well as existing customers, you will have prospects new to your new business that have become hand raisers through your work in the see and think stages. The do stage is where your offers, discounts, and value-added features finally come into play. And where will that be? Well, your website should have current offers clearly displayed when prospects click through to them. And they'll click through from all of the paid for activity you'll be doing. From your PPC ads, which will be targeted at in-market customers. From your Facebook ads, yes, paid for and targeted ads, not social posts. Offer emails to existing customers and hand raisers from local activations in the C stage. Radio or digital audio ads, because now these channels are becoming increasingly affordable and can be well targeted for local retailers. And out of home, direct mail or door drop can also play a crucial role in a blended campaign with those digital channels. The pros and cons for each of these ideas in the do stage, they depend largely on the sector that your brand operates in and the price point of your products. The main point we're making here is that it isn't until this stage in the customer journey that offers should be deployed to targeted in-market customers. Finally, onto the care stage. This is all about customer retention and loyalty. Show them that you actually care about having them as your customer. It can be the most rewarding stage of all if it's handled properly. Again, this stage needs very little in terms of spend, but it certainly needs some time and a little bit of imagination. Back to reviews again. Are your customers giving you reviews after they've bought from you? As we mentioned before, just ask them to. Not only will this feed directly into your think stage activity, it burns a positive memory into their feelings about your business. I honestly can't remember the last time I was asked to review my purchase, and there have been 100 times that I would have done, just with a friendly prompt. It's free and it's so valuable. Now, they're saying thank you and they're saying thank you. We're not suggesting a bunch of flowers every time somebody buys a pizza from your store. There's a scale to these things. Again, depending on your sector and the price point of your products, even the smallest thank you will burn in a positive feeling. Let me tell you a little story. My neighbour Doug is sent a beautifully packaged ham every Easter by the expensive local butcher. It's a nice touch. It's thinking outside the usual Christmas box. That's showing some imagination there. Now, Doug not only tells me about this 5 or 6 times a year, he also frequents that expensive butcher on a weekly basis. He pays for that ham 100 times over. He knows it too, but the butcher has lassoed him with his love. On to reminders. Well, it's taken the thank you concept to the next stage, but every brand needs a lead generating CRM program. So reminders are a great way to build loyalty, and this can work in every sector, for every product too. Obviously, the car dealers, for example, they have servicing and winter check reminders. That kind of makes it easy for them. But seasonal or occasion reminders can be emailed, direct mailed, or even direct messaged on social media to your customers to make them feel like your business cares about them. Let them know when your takeaway business has switched the menu to a winter theme, for example. And let them know if the fence panels they bought from you are a year old now and they might need another bit of a spray. As I said, a little bit of imagination, a little time, and very little money. But you must get them to put things on a planner or they just won't get done. Now, recommendations. This is one of our favorites and it's often the most productive. Tell your friends about us, and if they come in, we'll give you this. 2 birds, 1 stone, because even the smallest token will often result in an upsell, not only to your customer, but a sale to his friend at the same time. Now, all these ideas we've spoken about, each and every one of them is executed brilliantly by this brand. You may have heard of them. How do you think they grew so quickly and continue to grow even now? Because they care about their customers. And so does this brand, the expensive but brilliant local butcher. We've deliberately picked these two to represent both ends of the commercial scale and underline that it will also work for every business in between.
So that's how we recommend local retailers set about their planning. And those ideas for each stage, although quite generic, they would apply to 90% of local retailers, whatever the sector. But you might be thinking, they've made that all sound really easy in theory, but in real terms, I have to coordinate all of this across a large network of local retailers and managers that have vastly different levels of marketing expertise. It will never work. Well, here's some good news. It can work, and already does for some of the best known brands out there. Most of these proposed activities can be dealt with using an online marketing portal, either a digital asset management system or a marketing asset management system. One or other of these technologies can play a hugely important role in making sure your retailer's marketing in all 4 stages is very doable and will be on brand at the same time. So, digital asset management or marketing asset management. So what's the difference? Well, with the digital asset management portal or a DAM system, the brand basically shares its assets. In the simplest possible terms, it will give local retailers all the materials they need to get on with things themselves. It's an online library of all your marketing assets. It delivers the files in a number of formats: image, document, audio, video. It's limitlessly searchable using sophisticated tagging, and it can provide different experiences to different user levels. And it can have a manual design and artwork service bolted on so that you can get some of the materials created too. Meanwhile, a marketing asset management portal not only hosts your marketing assets, it also gives your network the means to fully activate them. So what do we mean? Well, all of the same features that a DAM, a digital asset management system, has at present, so it can be used in the same way, but it's all these additional features that set it apart and makes for a very powerful tool in the world of retailer or channel marketing. And it can work for every size of network, national or global, from tens of retailers to literally thousands. So, buildable templates. Well, by having a series of templates that can be customized for every type of media, print and digital, your local managers will be able to create their own locally relevant marketing materials. And you can determine which of the elements can be personalized. Price points, offers, event promos, for example. The time and money saved with this type of marketing automation is what first attracts many clients. Media buying has become a real minefield for local level marketeers, especially in the new digital spaces. It's often the reason that they steer clear, and that's really not good. But the portal could include access to media buying to make the process much more manageable. And the same goes for trafficking, because these days sending a PDF to the newspaper or printer just doesn't cut it. A good portal will book the space and traffic it through the correct channels so it appears where it should, when it should. One of the key features is the ability to manage any cooperative funding resource you have available to your network to help with their own marketing, assigning funds, signing off costs, and dictating what it's spent on can be controlled from the portal, making the process more accessible and easier for everybody. And as far as analytics and visibility is concerned, as well as the funding activities, the systems usually come with a suite of reporting tools on board showing the best performing activities by channel, campaign or product. It's the very least you should be looking for. And this type of reporting can be made visible to HQ and field teams, for example, so that you can see what's happening too right across your network. Every brand will have its own way of doing business with other tech solutions in place. The smartest marketing asset management systems recognise that and will integrate with all of the key marketing software, like Salesforce and Amazon Web Services.
But in respect of today's webinar, it's the planning at retailer level where a good system can make the biggest difference to your network's marketing. This is the area where most local marketers really struggle. It's possible to have a really professional but easy to use planning module on your marketing portal. And it can be designed to include all 4 stages of see, think, do, and care, like this. It helps make it intuitive and easy to follow. And the module can even be preloaded by the brand with example media plans, just to give retailers a head start. They often need that kind of help. This sample is a really neat summary of what we covered so far this morning. Look here at the C stage activity that's planned in. Even though this is a busy retail period, it's important to also be thinking about future sales. With lots of shoppers on the street, it's a great time to be letting them see your business is also in town. So put in a display area at the entrance to the local supermarket, perhaps. Sponsoring the local school concerts, it's great for visibility. And so is having a seasonal partnership with one of the local restaurants, something both parties can promote on social media. And talking of social media, remember that the think stage is all about enhancing your reputation. Christmas Facebook competition of some sort makes for great social engagement. And you could tie this in with a restaurant partnership maybe. That shows a bit of imagination. And you'll see here there are fortnightly reminders to go check all your reviews and comments on any of the online spaces where your business might be seen. Setting a reminder like this to do it on the planner really helps. And make sure your New Year offers are ready to be put onto your website so that it's current at all times. Of course, retailers will be very active in the do stage, getting offers in front of the in-market prospects they've identified from the previous 2 stages. But it's great to have it all planned in rather than knee-jerking when the deadline suddenly comes up. Here's some typical activity that will be on most planners, but it's worth noting that even the always-on marketing, like PPC, should be added to the planner, perhaps with reminders to renew or update the targeting. Finally, in the care stage, it's always a good quarter to send greetings, recommendation offers, or reminders, and perhaps make your website pages reflect the season. This now looks like a really smart plan for a local retailer in Q4, and it certainly helps have visibility on all 4 stages of the customer journey so that you can easily identify any gaps that you might come to regret in later months. And if this is part of a manned system, your retailers could probably initiate a lot of this activity directly from the screen. A lot of the software now is engineered to make the completion of buildable templates easy to initiate from a planner screen just like this. So the planning ideas around see, think, do, and care, well, they're standalone, and then they're not dependent on running a system of either kind, of course. But a marketing portal that's managed, populated, and promoted by an agency team that specializes in local marketing makes a hell of a difference when it comes to executing the plans. Making a decision about which is the best route for you, well, that will depend largely on how important you feel localization is for your network.
Actually, for all the people listening in today, we're going to offer a free of charge discovery session where we'll look at, with you, your current setup and see if one or other options might work for you. Erica will mail you the details just after we've finished this morning.
Yes, that we will. And talking of Erica, have we had any questions, Erica?
Yes, so bear with me. I think we've got time to get 2 or 3 answered. So one is that we've been considering a marketing portal. Is there a minimum number of local outlets needed to make it worthwhile?
Well, we get asked this quite a lot actually. It doesn't really depend on the number of outlets. It depends more on the number of different materials you want to do and which different marketing channels you might want to be providing. If you only have, say, 20 outlets, but you want your local managers to be really active in a number of channels right through the buyer cycle, then a full-blown marketing asset management portal can still be great value. But that might not be the case if you just want to do the odd emailer and digital banner. But in those cases, a digital asset management portal or that option might be best. There's no real fixed cutoff point, but we'd be happy to have an exploration chat with America. And as Peter said earlier, we'll do a free discovery session for anyone who wants to do it. Erica will mail you later.
Okay, and also, does media buying have to be included? We already have an agency that does that.
No, it doesn't have to be included. When we were talking about the marketing portals, the marketing asset management system, we were just giving a fairly sort of broad brush description of what they can do. But normally that it's a modular approach and they're specified to suit every client's own circumstance. The media buying is usually via an API directly to the host platform. The costs get passed straight through from, say, Facebook to the client anyway, as if they were buying directly. But we mentioned media buying simply because a lot of brands find it's the easiest way for their local managers to access some of these channels. They don't really know how to do it still at local level, and sticking it all on the portal, it just makes it easier. But no, it's modular. It doesn't have to be included.
Okay, and do you provide the example plans?
Yes, we can provide the example plans.
I'm assuming this is media plans that we're talking about.
Yeah, I guess so. I think making these portals work for your network, that's how we earn our fees, really. The software companies we partner with, they provide the systems, but our expertise is in developing the marketing plans and the marketing materials that will become the templates on those systems. So yes, we work with the marketing teams at each of our clients to develop example plans that basically cover all the stages of the customer journey. And then we go on to create the designs for each of the templates, which will be built by the software provider. We manage all of that for you.
Okay, and is the template building easy to learn?
No, it's very difficult to learn, which is why we don't do it and don't let the clients do it. That's all provided by the software team. But we manage all of that on behalf of the clients. Developing the type of content and messaging so that it's consistent with national advertising. That's what we do alongside the client. Template building, don't worry about that.
Okay, and somebody's asked, what is the starting cost?
That's a good question. There isn't really a starting cost, because when we were talking earlier about how many retailers do you have to make it work, it's the same question really. Every client will have a different requirement. No two brands are the same. It depends how many channels, what modules there are. But what I will say is every single client that I know, and there are hundreds of them across the world now, that use these types of portals, especially the marketing asset management portal, there isn't a single one of them that isn't saving tons of money and loads of time. That they pay for themselves 1,000-fold, especially when it's compared with manual production. So the starting cost is kind of irrelevant, because the ROI is huge. I have to leave it at that, really.
Okay. How does the co-funding module work in the system?
The co-funding module, as Peter said, it's usually the obstacles to co-funding at the local stores is the time and resource at HQ. Either the field team or the area managers can't sign off quickly enough, or they might not be available in time. Having online visibility to what their funds are, that often unblocks things, and for them to be able to sign off on the portal, the activity they're doing. But again, the co-funding module, it's optional. You don't have to run with it if it isn't part of your process. We have seen clients that don't have co-funding, but those clients that do help to fund their local retailers find that having a module like this
Gets good results.
it completely transforms what goes on. Activity goes up a huge amount.
Okay, and then perhaps the last one. If somebody's asked, we don't use most of the methods mentioned in your plan. Is the system still useful?
Yes. Well, the plan we used, it's just an example, really. It was fairly generic, and we put it in at the end, basically just to summarize what we've been talking about during the presentation. But whatever marketing channels they do use can replace those ones that we showed. The idea that local marketers with very little training can be encouraged to be present in all stages of the customer journey and plan that stuff, that's the main thing. And the marketing portals, they make execution that much easier.
Okay, great. Well, firstly, apologies if we didn't have a chance to get to your question, but we will be sure to follow up with people individually. But thank you very much for joining us. We're really pleased that you could attend. And as Tony said, I'll send over a note to see if you might want to arrange a free session where we can have a look at your own situation with you.
Thank you, Erica. And thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, goodbye. Thanks.
Bye.